we going, everybody? Today's been a shocking day to be outside in the garden. This is about the warmest and least windy spot I've found here, so I could just sit back and relax a little bit and contemplate my next move. So I thought today I'd share with you some basic housekeeping in the garden, that is, or garden keeping. Let's talk about that. So weeding, well, you've got plenty of time to do your weeding because they're not going to grow too fast. There's a lot coming out of the garden, but nothing to be worried about because as soon as the warm weather comes through and the wind stops, you can do a bit of a slasher spray, and that's my favourite herbicide. It's non-systemic, meaning it just works on in contact. It burns the plant pretty quickly, so you can feel safe spraying around garden beds where there are plants. As long as it doesn't reach and touch the plant, you're pretty safe with it. Second to that, prepare your garden bed, your veggie garden bed. If you've got some gaps, start composting it. Add some organic matter into it, some straw, some mulch, blood and bone, black grit, definitely black grit. Do a pH test. Now, our 4-in-1 soil survey instruments, we sold out of them. We sold out within 3 hours of promoting them, and I'm sorry about that. We have got another couple of hundred arriving. I'm not sure how far ahead. You can send an email through with a request and we'll try and keep a list there for you, but your best is just to monitor the website. As soon as they're released, we'll actually announce it, and rest assured they'll probably sell pretty quickly as well. Long term, we've probably got a few thousand coming in, but I can't tell you exactly how far down the track that is. Now, they're a great unit to testing your pH in your soil, the moisture, the temperature and the light. So you can do that in all areas of your garden bed, even pot plants. And I did a test, and you can search it on our previous videos on the little mini hothouses that I tested the soil to see how it's going. Now, that's preparing your garden bed and doing a pH if you need to. Sowing your seeds. I can't stress it. If you want to get an early start in spring, or even just get a start in spring, you need to have sown your seeds, your tomatoes, your capsicums. Basil's coming in soon, and we're going to have a huge range of basil seeds soon to be released online as well. So we've got a great selection of chili seeds and capsicum, up to 11. I think it's called 11 hot pack or hot chili pack, where you get 11 varieties, but 3 capsicums. But the big Malaccas, the big Malacca tomatoes, if you want some of those, there's only a few packets left for this year. So whatever stock we've got left is going to go online today, and after today, whatever's sold out, if we sell out, that's the end of it. So don't come screaming at me and asking for seeds in about 2 weeks time, because they're going to sell out by the end of the week. So check that out and sow your big Malacca seeds to go into the big Malacca competition as well for a chance to win a great prize. Now, another topic, Easy Hand Sprayer. We receive a lot of emails about people purchasing an Easy Hand Sprayer, and sometimes the problems that come across is, all right, it doesn't draw up properly because there's a filter blockage at the bottom, which is basically where the pipe or the tube itself sits at the bottom of the bottle, or the actual tube itself splits. Now, these little problems that occur tend to point in the direction where it's a sprayer that we don't have. It's a sprayer that's different to ours, or similar to ours, but not quite the same. And I thought, I'm going to show you both sprayers here now, because I've been able to track down the other one. Now, this, as you know, is our Easy Hand Sprayer. A little bit of rainwater on that, if you can see that there. Now, this here has been around for about 10, 12 years we've had it. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands we've sold of these, but there's also this one here. So this, as you can see, is called a flit sprayer, and they're both a flit sprayer essentially. There's a difference between them, because I did stumble across this 15, 20 years ago, but I sat down with the team and worked on improving it because we found some defects in it, so the manufacturing defects, which we found to be continuously annoying when it comes to using it. And our trials over a couple of years have proven that it needed to be improved. So if I could just run through the difference. Now, there's nothing wrong with the sprayer, apart from the problems that you stumble across, which I can't help you fix because it's not a sprayer that we stock. But, you know, I am a good person, aren't I? I like to think I am. I'll talk about the positives and negatives. Now, we found, and I'm going to set these both up, we found identical shafts, handles and everything. Well, they look identical. But what we also have here, let's start with this. The hoses or the tubes. Ours is a rubber tube. See how flexible that is? It wobbles around. Whereas the other one is a cheap plastic tube. Now, what happens with this is, if it doesn't happen automatically when you first install it, it will over time. On cold day today, this is quite rigid. You can see how rigid it is, right? When you go to install it onto this nipple here, if you don't heat up this tube here, wait. For starters, I'm going to struggle to get it on. There we are. I've got it on. Now, that's okay. But if you don't heat it up, you'll struggle like that. But over time, depending on what you're using, especially eco oil or eco neem, this tube is going to split. And you'll find yourself with a drink bottle. I'm not going to demonstrate because I haven't got a bottle here, but when you're pumping away, it's not drawing or sucking or pumping or anything. And we found out that the tube splits. So what you can do, cut it off. But then again, a week later, it'll split again, or a couple of weeks later, or something like that. So what ends up happening, you end up cutting your tube down, and it gets too short, so it doesn't reach the bottom of the bottle. So we've improved it with a better hose on it, or tube. Now that's a rubber tube. It will never block, it will never split. It just goes on, it dangles around, it's quite safe, no problems at all. It comes with a little filter cap on the bottom as well. Also, we've improved the internal shaft. We found the old shaft rusts up if you're using bluestone copper sulfate, whereas our shaft inside, and I'm not talking about this shaft in particular, but the inner tube inside, that pipe there itself, that there, we changed the type of material it's made from so it doesn't rust up. And it shouldn't rust up on this, but look, sometimes you get some factory defects, and we're aware of that. We can't control that, and because we don't test every single one that comes through, and we're happy to replace or repair for you. And obviously the most obvious difference is the length of the shaft at the front. You can see that. So by far, this is a much larger unit, a better reach, because we've got more pumping action going through there. And I like to hold it here. This is a handle, right? That is the handle, but I find that when you've got a 2 litre or 1.5 litre bottle on the end, it tends to want to sort of lean you over like that. Now you can hold it back and balance it, there's no problem with that. But I also find, and that's something that I thought we could have changed the handle, but I thought it's just as easy enough to hold it there. So what I find here is that when you're pumping away, and you're excited because it's got a strong pumping action, meaning pressure with the minimum of effort put into it, you find the bottle will start to wobble, and the last thing you want is over time is to loosen the capping or the holding on that. So I find holding it there, not only does it give you better balance on it, you've actually got control of it, and you're not going to break that, because that could be made out of metal for sure. That's something we'll look into. But also, when you do hold it there, you haven't got the problem of the sprays, because they swivel nozzle. See how they swivel up and down, right? When you're pumping like that, there's a reach, and depending if you've got a soft spray or a hard spray, if you've got a sort of wide soft mist, that'll spray out to there. Now, if you're doing it with this little unit, I don't know if anybody who's got one has experienced this or not, but I certainly have, is if I'm holding it there, and I've got my spray bottles like that, I've got dribble coming down my hand. Now, look, I don't use chemicals, so it's safe to say that even if it is dribbling, it's not a problem, or I can hold it there. And again, the balancing is maybe not as bad as this, but still that has got the potential of falling over. Well, there you go. That's what's happened. Look at that. Has it split? No. But that's what happens. Once you put it on, it loosens up and just falls off. But anyway, I get back to it. So when you're pumping like that, you've got to hold the bottle, and it's just a lot sturdier unit. So they're the basic difference. Still a good unit for the money you're paying for it. Now, I'm not sure how much everybody else sells these for. We don't sell these. We have these ones online, and they're at half price, normally $23.95. So for the money, I mean, just over 13 bucks or under 13 bucks, what can you get these days? And obviously this, if you have any problems, you've got an online team. We have an online team that will help you through the whole process. And if you have got problems, you can search our Easy Hand Sprayer on our YouTube channel to find out how to service it, how to prime it, how to troubleshoot it, and all that stuff. It's also on the page itself of Vasili'sGarden.com. The spray heads come off, you get rubber O-rings as well to replace it, as well as rubber O-rings in here to replace, and always lubricate it and wash it through. And if you do ever have a problem and you can't get it fixed after you've troubleshooted, think about sending us an email. admin@Vasili'sGarden.com. Shoot it through with your problems. If it's one of these, we're just going to point you to the place where you bought it from. If it's one of ours, obviously we're going to help you fix it. And if we can't fix it, and it is a factory defect, we will replace it for you. Now, you get one of these at half price, or you can get it with our Black Grit for $14.95. Black Grit's normally $23.95, or actually $19.95, and that's $23.95. So the team are telling me they've discounted it just under 15 bucks. It is basically cost price. I don't know how many they've got online, but I'm telling you something, once they sell out, that price ain't going to be repeated. So folks, check it all out, Vasili'sGarden.com. Easy Hand Sprayer, or the Flint Spray if you like. This is my favourite. From me, Vasili, Maresi.